Hey there guys, today we're taking a look at Grounded running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5500U. Now we're testing this with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and of course the game is currently running with the lowest in-game settings at the full 1080p resolution but with FSR, and FSR is set to the performance mode. Now this specific survival game is very interesting. I actually am really into the whole setting and the aesthetic of it. I was hoping that with the simple graphics that it actually uses, it would be a bit better of a performer. Unfortunately, at the stock 15 watt TDP, we really are just not getting that great of an experience here. The averages are pretty much in the mid 20s, which wouldn't necessarily be too bad if it wasn't for the fact that the 1% lows are in the single digits. And after playing the game for a few minutes, it became very apparent that those 1% lows were just not going to pick up. Now, of course, being a DirectX 12 game, it might need some time to cache its shaders and overall level off the performance. But again, after playing for a decent amount of time, you pretty much end up discovering that is just not going to be the case. And after a full 20 minutes of playing from the beginning of the game, we got a FPS average of 26 and 1% lows of 4. Pretty much an abysmal showing, and overall just it's not going to be a great experience. Now, of course, if we use the balance preset on the AMD APU tuning utility or the universal x86 tuning utility, we do get slightly better a result, though the biggest problem continues to be 1% lows. Our averages now being comfortably above 30 would be a decent enough experience if it wasn't for the fact that our 1% lows are unfortunately still in the single digit range. Now, it's not like this throughout the entirety of the experience. Sometimes the 1% lows would get within ranges that were more than adequate to at least give you somewhat of a decent experience, but pretty much anytime anything would end up loading in, it would drag things down. So as you explore around and things start to pop in, that will really drag down the experience and introduce some stuttering. And anytime a cutscene or anything like that that is like essentially a scripted animation ends up happening, the 1% lows pretty much fall into the single digits. So while we ended up with an average of 34, our 1% lows of 9 are not impressive in the slightest. Now, it's a little misleading in the sense that the stutters that you will see aren't exactly frequent all the time. It's just when you do actually get that lag spike that hits, it really drags down the whole experience. You could certainly work around it, especially for the situations where it only happens in cutscenes, since at least you don't need to interact with anything. But if you're playing this for the story, then you're gonna have a pretty bad experience anytime you actually look at any of the cinematics in the game. Now, if we go with the performance preset and pump a full 28 watts into this system, we do get the best result that we've seen so far. But unfortunately, it was not enough to really overcome the problems that just exist within this game running on this APU. We pretty much managed to get a FPS average of 39, but our 1% lows of 10 pretty much showed absolutely no major improvement whatsoever over any of the other presets. Now, unfortunately, we really can't go any lower than this because the game, as soon as you use FSR, locks it to the base resolution of the system, which in this case is 1080p. You cannot adjust the resolution and also use FSR. Now, you could work around this by setting your desktop resolution down to 720p, but at that point, it just became far too much of a hassle that I don't think anyone would realistically do this. And again, the biggest issues here is just the fact that with cinematics and anything like that playing, it really drags down the whole experience. At the 28 watt TDP, for the most part, if you stuck around to the same area, you could get 1% lows that were in a more than acceptable range. But as soon as you start running around and exploring the area, you will see that the 1% lows will start to suffer. So I would say that this game is pretty much at the edge of playability, and it really comes down to what you can and can't stomach in terms of fluctuation when it comes to FPS. Certainly the worst parts of the game are in areas that you are not even interacting with anything, so it doesn't matter if it's performing extremely badly, though it will ruin cinematics and things like that for you. So if you're just in it for the gameplay, it might be doable as long as you can raise the TDP. But if you actually care about the story and want to actually experience that, you're probably better off just holding off until you can actually get a system that can play it properly. But anyways, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.